Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. We start by taking a look back over the last 3 days at total accumulated precipitation here. This, again, is radar-based, and what we notice is that much of the heavy rain that we have here in parts of Pacific Northwest was back 3 days ago. It's been relatively dry since then across much of the region as the heat is built back in. And with that heat, each time we get this big surge in heat, we start to see more monsoonal-like flow, which we typically get toward the middle and end of summer. We can see here across the Four Corner states where we have had some locally heavy rainfall from some monsoonal thunderstorms. And Kevin here has been sending me some great pictures and videos and imagery of what some of the storms have looked like. And he sent me this picture just a couple of days ago near the Superstition Mountains, which again are just east of Phoenix, and you can see the smoke here. And he thought that this particular fire was started by lightning, and there's certainly been a lot of that as of late. Now, I was hoping I could go in and see this particular fire from space as well, but I saw in the background quite a bit of cumulus, high-based cumulus clouds, and I couldn't find it, Kevin. I went looking, I couldn't find it, but I did find something else that was quite interesting. Specifically, out of parts of northern Mexico, do you see this little feature right in through here? If we zoom in on it, there was a large smoke plume that went racing toward the northeast here out of a fire in this part of Mexico. So we'll keep an eye on all of this as we approach fire season and to see how our topsoil moisture evolves. We'll see what this does in terms of drying out the vegetation and what our fire risk looks like later in the season. Now, one of the things I've been noticing is that the heat as it comes in is coming in waves, and the data are confirming that, of course. This is looking at a graph that starts from the beginning of the year and goes through yesterday. That looks at the daily temperature in Phoenix. And so you've got your all-time record lows here, your records highs here, and in between this is the normal range. And each blue bar represents a high and a low for any given day. We just noticed that it's come up in a peak, almost breaking records here, and then it drops back off. Drops off again, and back recently we've been up here well above 100 degrees. In fact, I'm still working on a cool new set of maps that'll show us how frequent these kind of events are. And what I'm showing you this for, though, is to tell you that the waves of heat are still coming, and they're going to be met with cooler time periods. So we're in the middle of the heat now, but we have some cooler weather that's on its way. So excessive heat warnings are out for the next several days down here in southern Arizona and southern California, and also in the Central Valley we have excessive heat watch and heat advisories out across this area as the temperatures are really skyrocketing. What are we looking at today? Well, in parts of Arizona, temperatures between 105 and 110, and through the Central Valley, we're going to be seeing temperatures here in the mid to upper 90s, getting down toward the lower 100s when you get into far southern California. That is several degrees above average, and we're going to see how this temperature pattern changes soon. But before we get there, look at this. This is an animation starting yesterday, going through early this morning, of our infrared satellite temperatures. And there's a few features we want to be looking out for to watch for the next change. Specifically, this low that you see here off the Baja, and this kind of stream of moisture that you see pulling out here well north of Hawaii, but still pushing in that area, because these two features are going to be interacting together in the near term to give us a pretty big change across the western part of the United States. Now, I'm sure you'll be able to find it when I click play, but watch right there. Okay? What we see is over the next 10 days, that cutoff low, the low that's sitting in the Gulf of Alaska, and the large high-pressure cell that sits between them, this whole pattern collapses. So through Wednesday, Thursday of this week, no change. Watch what happens for your weekend. This is now getting through the day on Friday into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And as that comes through, and look at this trough right here, as this all sweeps together, this is going to give us an unsettled and cooler weekend. Now, while all that's happening, just to keep you aware, there is a tropical system. Will likely be named Tropical Storm Cristobal by the end of the day, today on Tuesday, and it's going to be coming somewhere between Texas and Louisiana. That's the best estimate at this point. But that trough sweeps through, but notice this. Nothing blocks it in a place. It moves. Next week, next Wednesday, Thursday, gets into the Central Plains. And the pattern across the open Pacific stays unblocked. And we want that. We do not want the Pacific to get blocked up, because when it does, we get stuck in our weather patterns, and to get stuck is bad news. So, with that as a backdrop, let's now take a look at how precipitation accumulates. We're running through the day here on Wednesday now, getting into the day here on Thursday. And as we work into Thursday evening here, and into Friday. Watch the change happen. Ready? Here comes Saturday, into Sunday, and then eventually into Monday. And you can see the push of moisture that's coming in over the weekend. And this is the European model's view of total accumulated precipitation. Now, we do notice that the model's not picking up on a whole lot more additional convection down here where we're watching for the monsoon. But certainly enhanced by the lift over the mountains, possibly quite a bit of heavy precipitation, coastal Oregon, Washington. I am not anticipating much coming through parts of the Columbia Basin in through this area. This is just not the setup to do it, but some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, and certainly a major change in our temperature overall. So let's see how this takes shape. Ready? This is the high-resolution European model, and let's pause it right there because through the next couple of days, not watching too much at all. So we're actually all the way out to Wednesday evening. Let's now get ourselves over into Thursday evening, and here comes that first low from the north, the second low here from the south, and the push of moisture in between. This is Friday afternoon and evening, now getting into the overnight hours on Friday into Saturday morning. Now, it appears that throughout the day on Saturday and Sunday and Monday, the most unsettled weather will be during that time period here for much of the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. So we see this is Saturday afternoon and evening, getting into Sunday morning, afternoon, and evening. And yep, we may be cold enough at the very highest elevations, a little bit of snow here added to parts of the Northern California ranges, just the highest elevations, and then through the Cascades and the Northern Rockies. So that's what comes through for the weekend, and it's going to be relatively unsettled. Beyond that, I do not have much confidence in the models right now. There's a bit of underperformance here compared to what is normal, and I think it has a lot to do with the transfer of energy out of the tropics. I'm going to show you the week 2 in just a moment here, but I want to let you know that my confidence is a little bit low at this point. So what do they look like? Well, here's the Gfs Ensemble on the left. This again is June 9th through the 16th. And on the right, I have the European. We can see that, maybe for California, painting a pretty similar picture. But in the Pacific Northwest, the European wants to drop in another trough, keeping it wet along coastal Oregon and Washington. But the big questions remain is what's going on in both the tropical Pacific and tropical Atlantic. And I'll be discussing both of these things in great detail in tomorrow's long range to give you that technical update there. But again, this is just the week 2 precipitation anomalies. Now let's get over to the discussion on temperature, because with the heat that's in place for much of the beginning and middle of this week, we're going to be seeing some extremely high evaporation rates. You can see here in parts of Arizona, Southern California, Southern Nevada, and over into New Mexico, we're going to be seeing numbers that climb to the 2 to 3, maybe upwards of 4-inch evaporation rates. Central Valley of California, those numbers are between 1.5 and 2.5 inches of evaporation this week. And it's because of these temperatures. Here they are. This is maximum temperatures today. We've already looked at this map. Let's see how things change tomorrow. Yeah, we're talking triple digits throughout much of the San Joaquin and Sacramento Valley. 112 in Phoenix is the forecast for tomorrow's highs. As we play this forward, Wednesday, not offering much relief at all going into the day on Thursday here. And it won't be, watch this, until Friday that we start to push that heat out. So Friday, now we're back into the upper 80s, lower 90s. A lot of heat here in the Snake River Valley in the day on Friday, but that will be changing. Ready? Friday into Saturday. Look at that push of cooler air coming in. And then into Sunday and Monday. So again, the wave action, this non-blocked flow in the Pacific is just bringing in these brief spells of cooler air followed by some pretty intense heat. So it's kind of crazy to say that on Monday, the temperatures in Phoenix are going to be slightly below average at 101 degrees Fahrenheit. But certainly the Central Valley of California is seeing a lot of upper 70s, lower 80s is going to be some nice cool weather. Now, how long does it last? Well, in the 6 to 10 day forecast, it's picked up quite well. So again, this takes us out to about June 11th, the evening of June 11th. We see the cooler weather hanging on to the west coast, but it's, again, temporary. See this? By the time we get out to the 11 to 15 day, new ridge builds in and the heat returns to California. And you can see it pushes into the Intermountain West. So that seems to be the way this is all going. One last map to show you here, a series of maps to show you here. Just got last night the newest update. So I'm going to show you June 8th through July the 8th. And I put down some of the bigger ideas up there on top. For the West Coast, we've seen a pretty consistent picture with wanting to put things back over on the wetter side of things as we, the warmer side of things as we go from June 8th through July 8th. And the precipitation, this is really getting into, the meat of the dry season here. The European still wants to keep bringing systems into coastal Oregon and Washington, but outside of that, honestly, pretty normal precipitation pattern here for the west coast of the U.S. So we'll analyze this in much more greater depth throughout the day today and report it back to you tomorrow in our long-range update. We'll see how far out into summer we can take a look here, okay? Have a good one. Talk to you again tomorrow. Thank you.